4 rounds down, 3 to go, and we're better to kickstart a double-header of MotoE than the gorgeous Catalan capital of Barcelona. This Spanish city is one of MotoE's greatest destinations, and it never disappoints. A jumbled-up grid awaits in 2025's Race 1 here. It's on the horizon, and it's coming up next. Good afternoon and welcome trackside to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Montmeló, half an hour away from the hustle and bustle of Barcelona city itself. But why would you want to be by the beach today? It's Sprint Saturday in MotoGP, and the first race of the weekend gets underway in just a few moments with MotoE's first encounter of 2 today. You're joining myself, Kiko Giles, and Neil Morrison next to me, whilst in pit lane somewhere, Elliot York is down there grabbing the stories. A new championship leader last time out, MotoE Casadei leads Lorenzo Baldassarri by 14 points in the standings, whilst 15 cover the top 4. In qualifying yesterday, he had less than 3/4 of a second covered the top 8, and with Eric Granado returning to pole position, Neil, for the first time since here last year, we are in for a treat this afternoon.
Yeah, we most certainly are, Kiko. We saw a very competitive qualifying session here on Friday afternoon, and I think any one of the first 2 rows has a shot of winning today's races here in the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. We've had some epic racing at this circuit in years gone by. We've seen some pivotal contests which have had a massive bearing on where the championship crown has eventually gone. Could we see the same again today?
And how many times have we seen it in MotoE history that just when you think someone is starting to gather momentum and find their rhythm, such is MotoE Casadei over recent rounds, it's wiped away from them. Barcelona always brings a surprise. 2025, it's going to be no different. The grid is forming, as you can see, a little bit of a change to the build-up here in MotoE for this 5th round of the season. We'll have 1 lap less for this weekend in both Race 1 and Race 2, and that's in order to accommodate a rather uncharacteristic warm-up lap, and that's just to make sure that there's plenty of heat in the tyres when they do get down to turn 1 for the first time. So instead of 7 laps, Neil, we've got 6, but it's going to be 6 of the very best.
Yeah, absolutely. That applies to Race 1 and Race 2. The front tyre has been a little bit critical for a lot of the MotoE field this year, and we've seen quite a few front-end crashes. Some riders saying that a little warm-up lap just before the race starts would really help bed in that front tyre, get it up to full working temperature before they plough down to the very fearsome turn 1 here at this circuit. So it is going to be a first for MotoE, a warm-up lap, and then a shortened race distance, as you said, Kiko, and 6 laps. Should be sparks flying across all 6, I would say.
Oh, I would absolutely guarantee that, because MotoE this year has really delivered, and it's a 4th different pole sitter in 5, Neil, and it's a first pole since Catalunya last year for Eric Granado, the LCR-E team. We've had 5 winners. He has had a podium, but he's not been a victor just yet this year. Is today the day?
Yeah, if qualifying is anything to go by, he should be starting as the favourite. Granado was 2nd in practice yesterday afternoon before going on to secure his first pole position of the year. Looking very good around the track, in which he has always shown some great potential. So Granado gunning for his first victory of 2025.
He's won from pole 5 times, the last of which was the Red Bull Ring in Race 1 2022. Back on the front row for the 2nd consecutive round, Lorenzo Baldassarri is MotoE Casadei's nearest rival, and he goes from the middle of that front row again. Can the 28-year-old Italian find form? He's had 2 podiums, a 3rd, a 2nd. Will he complete the sequence with a 3rd, Neil?
Yeah, it is. It does have potential, you would have to say. It has been a good weekend for him so far, and we're actually going to pass down to Elliot York, who is on the grid, I think, with Lorenzo Baldassarri.
Yeah, certainly. Lorenzo, how are you feeling ahead of this one? Front row start and looking for your first win. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel strong. Let's see how is the first lap. We will give the maximum because the race is very short. So I can't wait to race today. I have 2 chances, so let's see what happens.
Good luck.
See you.
Max attack then from the number 7 of Lorenzo Baldassarri. We caught a glimpse of the number 81 of Jordi Torres. 2020 and 2021 MotoE World Champion. Don't forget 2 podiums though in 2025. It's his 2nd front row of the season. His 3rd front row though in Barcelona, but he's never won from it.
Yeah, exactly. He's never won here. He's been in a bit of a lull in terms of results of late. Has Jordi Torres no higher than 9th across the last 4 races. He'll be looking to make a podium return here today, and a lot of eyes on this rider here. Mattia Casadei put one hand on the MotoE World Championship back in 2023 at this circuit, but had a really mixed affair last year, and the inconsistency it showed here was evident through the rest of last year. So which kind of Mattia Casadei are we going to see today, Kiko?
And of his 13 wins, Neil, only 2 have come from off of the front row. Mazzano last year from 4th, Le Mans earlier this year from 9th. Middle of the 2nd row, our 2019 champion, Matteo Ferrari. Double top 5 in 2023, a double P8 in 2024. Current form, 3 podiums from 4. Matteo Ferrari in the middle of that 2nd row. Elliot York, who have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm down here with Lucio Cecchinello, of course, the LCR team boss. How are you boys feeling ahead of this one? Casadei leading the championship on the 2nd row, and Eric, of course, on pole position.
Yeah, we are of course excited for these races. I would say that yesterday morning we were 1st and 2nd, and then during the qualifying, unfortunately, Mattia Casadei had some small complaint about the suspension setup, so he finished 4th, second row. But I think that he will be one of the race contenders.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Lucio Cecchinello, it's pole and P4 for his riders today. Neil, 2nd row is a busy one. We had a glimpse there of Matteo Ferrari. Alessandro Zacconi completes at the number 61. His last win came from P6 on the grid, Assen Race 2 in 2025. He hasn't had the best form in qualifying, but he has had history of converting those poor performances.
Yeah, he's Mr. Consistent this year. He has had his moments in Assen where he was on the podium twice, but he was either 7th, 6th or 5th in each of the last 4 races. Not exactly championship form, but still enough to keep the points on the board, and currently 4th in the championship, just 15 points back of Casadei, so still very much a championship player.
Nicolas Spinelli has had a podium in Barcelona back in 2023, 3rd from the 3rd row of the grid. He goes from 7th today. Back then it was from P8. That's not the only statistical story on that 3rd row either. Kevin Zanoni last year was P8 here in Barcelona. He took 3rd in race 1. He won race 2, Neil. He's got the same challenge today.
He does indeed. He's been in pretty rotten form recently though, has Kevin Zanoni. That was his 1st World Championship success here 1 year ago, so very happy memories of this circuit. Watch out for the 2nd Aspar name coming through from the middle of the 3rd row.
This is Zanoni himself, of course. This will be his 60th start in the class as well. Poor form of late, still in the top 10, still with a chance at the title if he can pick up some performance this weekend, just like he found just over 12 months ago. Completing the 3rd row of the grid, the number 12 of Jacopo Hosjuk, the 19-year-old from Rome in Italy, but takes the Romanian nationality. Race 2 will be his 10th start in MotoE, and despite previous experience here in Barcelona, he's never scored points in the Moto2 European Championship. It's a long way down the grid. It's the 4th row for our reigning champion, Hector Garzo. He heads up there from P10, but they all chase Eric Granado. We gear up then for MotoE Race 1 here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. You're joining myself, Kiko Giles, Neil Morrison alongside me, and Elliot York down in pit lane. And on the grid, it's Eric Granado ahead of Baldassarri and Torres. We've taken you through the front 3 rows. Hector Garzo, we just about squeezed him in. Head of the 4th row, a nightmare in qualifying. What a disaster. He couldn't really get a fast lap time in. It's a busy 4th row. Oscar Gutierrez, who of course won his first MotoE race here in Barcelona. He's 11th. Andrea Mantovani, your championship leader up until last time out, completes it after another woeful qualifying performance. Tibor Eric Varga is 13th. Alessandro Alessio Finello, beg your pardon, is 14th place. Luca Bernardi 15th. Tommaso Occhi and Raffaele Fusco, the two on Getter, 658 Quadricorsa machines, 16th and 17th. We normally have 18, but Maria Herrera can wrap up the World WCR title at Magny Cours this weekend alongside the World Superbikes there. So she's opted to take care of that and prioritise World WCR over MotoE. She'll be back next weekend at Mazzano. We go on for an uncharacteristic warm-up lap, Neil, but that does give us an opportunity to talk about pinch points. Where are the key overtaking hotspots and action hotspots here in Barcelona?
Yeah, historically speaking, down into turn 1 has always been a favourite place for the MotoE riders to make a move, so watch out down into there. Turn 5 has been a real problem point through the years as well, where we're coming through just right now. We saw Jordi Torres essentially lose his championship hopes at that corner 2 years ago, back in 2023. Then we've got the left hairpin at turn 10, and that is probably the last realistic place that you're going to be making a safe pass. You can always do something all or nothing in turn 14, but yeah, you're definitely putting it on the line if you're going to be doing that.
It's all in for the win if you're going through 13 and 14, really, isn't it? But not impossible.
Not impossible, and we're getting to that time, Kiko. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's winning this one?
Oh, I feel like Eric Granado is going to add his name to the winners list. Neil?
I'm going to go with Matteo Ferrari from row 2.
And it would only be fair. Elliot York, are you listening?
I certainly am. I'm going to go for Lorenzo Baldassari from the middle of this front row. Not the second row, the front row.
Lorenzo Baldassari, Matteo Ferrari, Eric Granado. Just making sure before we have any misdemeanors up here when it all goes to pot.
That noise off mic was Kiko taking his wallet out and putting €5 down on the table.
Yeah, that thing that just landed on the window was a moth. Eric Granado rolls into view then and is going to have a clear view down towards turn 1. The big thing here, Neil, is such a long run down there, and it really is so vital you make a good start.
Yeah, absolutely key start, or a good start here will be absolutely key. Lots of names to look out for coming through from behind row 1. Mattia Casadei, one of them. Also an all-star row 4. I'll be looking back there.
Here we go then. 6 laps of MotoE action here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Go! And it is a good start from pole, but a better one from P2. Lorenzo Baldassari, we saw back in Hungary. He got the starts that he needed, and it is absolutely chopping and changing. It is Kevin Zanoni who's come up the inside. Casadei's got it sideways on. They squeeze through. Balda gets the whole shot. It's tight at turn 2. Careful on that front end as they flick left and then right. But it is Baldassari from your pole sitter Eric Granado. Kevin Zanoni with an absolutely lightning getaway. I think that is up in 3rd place. 4th place. It's a fantastic start from Casadei to keep it clean, but he's under attack from Ferrari. That's 5th up to 4th for him, and Casadei just pushed offline a little bit at turn 4, giving Nicolas Spinelli the opportunity. Turn 5 for the first time. Hold your breath because this is a pinch point.
Yeah, absolute nightmare start for Jordi Torres on the front row. He's back in 7th. He's lost 4 places. Brilliant stuff from Spinelli, who's up 2 positions, and as you say, Kevin Zanoni, who's gone from 8th up into 2nd.
He's got ahead of Eric Granado, so I had to do a double take. It was Zanoni, not Torres, because Torres was the one who did start on the front row. Good start from Luca Bernardi up inside the top 10, and likewise Tibor Eric Varga. Both of those riders up in the top 10 from the 5th row of the grid. Hector Garzo's weekend has seen him down the order. He's 11th on the first half of this opening lap. Zanoni bouncing around all over the place, saying down towards turn 10, but gets it all hooked up. Balda leads, aimed towards the stadium section for the first time.
Yeah, great stuff from one of the title contenders, Andrea Mantovani. He's jumped up 4 positions to go 8th. Another championship contender, Alessandro Zecconi, has had a nightmare first lap. He's got all the way back to 14th from 6th on the grid.
And Oscar Gutierrez is down in 15th place. And oh, someone's gone down, and if that is, oh dearie me. Is that Casadei? I think it is. That's Mattia Casadei, who has had an enormous get-off coming through 13 and 14. I was just about to say that's going to be quick through there. Wow. Good to see him up on his feet, but that bike has parked itself right on top of that air fence. That is not a good place for that bike to end up, but thankfully it didn't come bouncing back into the gravel. It's not an air fence, by the way, that's just a normal runoff. So turn 14 for Mattia Casadei, your championship leader, is down and out within less than a lap lap done. Back at the front just to bring some order. Baldassarri was P1. He's now back in P4. Matteo Ferrari has come through. That's for P2. Balda's coming through as well, smoking that tyre there through turn 4 as Casadei, well, all he can do is sit down in the shade. Neil, we're on board with him. Talk us through what happened here. This is going to be a ride and a half.
Yeah, nightmare stuff as he pitches into turn 14. He's lost the front very, very early there. That is a strange and puzzling crash for Mattia Casadei. Look at the bike going up and getting caught by the catch fencing on the outside there off the gravel trap. Goodness me, Casadei was very, very fortunate to be up and walking away after that significant roll through the gravel.
The catch fencing doing exactly what it's there for, so fantastic stuff there. That bike coming in at speed and making sure it stopped instantly. Coming down towards turn 10, Granado it is, the pole sitter, who is still chasing that first victory of 2025, who leads. Matteo Ferrari, who's come up to second from 5th on the grid. Lorenzo Baldassarri started on the front row, is still 3rd, but I tell you what, Matteo Ferrari is looking like a man possessed here, coming through the opening couple of laps here in Barcelona, just outside the top 3. Zanone's gone back to 4th, but it's still a fantastic opening couple of laps from him. Spinelli's 5th, and you can never write off Andrea Mantovani, who's completing the top 6. We come across the line for the second time to start the 3rd lap here, side by side. Granado versus Ferrari down in towards the braking area. Granado's got track position and he's got P1 sorted. Spinelli up to 4th.
Yeah, there goes Spinelli underneath Kevin Zanoni. You wonder whether Zanoni has the real pace to be up here fighting for the podium. We haven't really seen that from him so far this weekend as he struggles to keep the pace off the leading names. Ferrari was the only rider inside the 1:47s on that last lap. He was marginally faster than Eric Granado, and it looks as though for the time being he's just content to sit behind the Brazilian and see what he has to offer.
We're coming through. This is down towards turn 4. We're looking at Hector Garzo, who already has a track limits one. And look at the smoke. Deary me. That is very, very hot. Oh, that's getting tight and hot as well. That's coming through. That's Luca Bernardi. That is a fantastic move. Up into the top 6. The San Marinese rookie gets ahead of Andrea Mantovani, who loses a space and a place down towards P7. Look at how much these MotoE bikes move around here at the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. They are on hinges as they come through 7 and 8, but Granado, still the best of the field, leads the charge down towards turn 10.
Yeah, Eric Granado is keeping it nice and smooth as it stands, and the riders behind him just taking a bit of a watch a breath. Here comes Hector Garzo yet again, making a nice move on Johnny Torres. Someone's crashed up ahead or behind, and it is Alessio Finello, I think it was, the second Grassini name that has crashed out down at turn 10. One of the problem spots on this track. That's a disappointment for the Italian, but I don't think that is going to have a major impact on who will be finishing inside the top 6.
It won't indeed. It will just mean Alessio Finello loses more chances to get some more points on the board, and I think we're going to get it a bit late. Yeah, he crashed out. It was just behind Alessandro Zacconi, I think, that time around. But never mind for Alessio Finello, he'll get to do it later on. Look at Matteo Ferrari riding the berm and rubbing shoulders with Eric Granado. And Lorenzo Baldassarri says, I'll have some of that. Right the way around the outside, gets the job done down in towards turn 1.
I think there might be a bit of a problem with Bernardi and Zacconi's transponders. Isn't that Zacconi there in 5th position? He's riding the number 61, or maybe I've just got my numbers confused, but it's all kicking off up at the front. Lorenzo Baldassarri is back in the front position, just ahead of Matteo Ferrari in 2nd, and really there's nothing to choose between all of these front 4 riders.
It's a great spot indeed. So maybe it is Zacconi after all who is up inside the top 5. I reckon you're right there, Neil. The thing is, in our comms box as well, we don't have absolutely perfect view of the actual screens. We've got so much light coming in as well. So I think you're right on the money there, Neil. Good spot.
That is Zacconi in 5th position, I'm sure of it. Well, yeah. Anyway, let's see how this transpires. It did look strange that he had dropped all the way down to, well, as you can see, 13th on your timing tower, but I think the two Aruba bikes have maybe been confused with their transponders. Yeah, we see the Zac on the back of his leathers. So Zacconi, yeah, is definitely in 5th. And here is Hector Garzo. He does love this move down into turn number 10, bruising it there on, that is Mantovani, who's struggling to keep the pace of these leading names. So good stuff from Garzo, who qualified in 10th. Now into 7th position, so decent progress this from the reigning champion.
I'll tell you what as well, that's really good to see. Tiborek Varga is up in the top 10. He's the second of the yellow Riva Cold Snipers machines Nicola Spinelli, his teammate, is there in 4th, but Varga, after that big crash a couple of weeks ago, back in the top 10 where he was starting to consolidate himself a couple of rounds ago in Austria. Side by side as we go on to the penultimate lap, Ferrari chops across Balder. Granado is going to have some of that as well, slots the eye of the needle, and that is absolutely fantastic. Eric Granado 3rd up to 2nd, Balder back to 3rd now. Ferrari leads the way and would lead the way in the standings too if you put the flag out now.
Pretty much all of this top group in the 1 minute 48, with the exception of the rider in 5th, and it is Alessandro Zacconi who is coming towards the front as Ferrari is a big moment under break it down into turn number 4. He goes well wide. Will Granado be able to keep it tight? Ferrari just about manages to close off the line. You can see the smoke pouring off the rear tyre of Spinelli there in 4th position. Fabulous stuff and rear wheel action from those riders, but the rider you need to look at, keep an eye on, is the name in 5th place. It says Luca Bernardi on the timing tower. It is actually Alessandro Zacconi, the number 61.
It is indeed Zacconi who is right there. That is absolutely confirmed. We'll hope that the timing tower can be fixed out soon. But with a lap and a half to go, priority on the action. Ferrari leads the way. And what a turnaround this would be for Matteo Ferrari if he can come away with a championship lead going into the final 5 races of 2025. We have one race later on today at 4 o'clock. We are back at Misano next weekend before the grand finale, and it's shaping up to be a grand finale in Portimao. Talking of grand finales, we're in for one here. Coming through turn 13 and 14. Matteo Ferrari leads a 10-wheeler coming through the final sector now. Granado 2nd, Balder 3rd, Spinelli spinning it up in 4th place, and in 5th place Zacconi. Any one of these 5, Neil, could be your race winner. Last lap time as they fan out down this massively long front straight. It's neck and neck. Granado's gone a long way on Ferrari, who will have track position but doesn't have the braking power. It's Granado who just gets the anchors out and lets it out all the way to the apex to get the job done. Granado leads.
Brilliant stuff from Granado. You can see he has refined his confidence with this year's package, passing around the outside of Matteo Ferrari into turn 1. Fantastic stuff from the Brazilian, but is Ferrari going to respond up into turn 4?
Oh, defensive riding from Granado. He just did what he needed to do, but does he run wide as well? Not enough for Matteo Ferrari to come back through. Wow. Balder is smoking that rear tyre there, looking to come through, and he gets through into P2, so Baldassari now takes up the charge to try and dethrone Eric Granado, and Balder himself going in search of that first victory in MotoE.
Yeah, we've seen him up towards the front, but we've not seen him being aggressive and making moves like this on the final lap in the podium battle just yet this year. Is Matteo Ferrari going to respond up into turn 9? This could be an absolute godsend for Eric Granado, who's just got a tiny little bit of breathing space as they come onto the back straight down towards this crucial turn 10.
Granado very defensive. Does he leave his braking a bit too late? You want to try and pull it down to an apex and not run wide on exit. He's got it perfect there. So Eric Granado holds track position coming into the stadium section for the final time. Lorenzo Baldassari might be starting to think, can I come up with something in the final couple of corners? It's rare, but it is possible, but surely not today. I think Eric Granado has just done enough here. Matteo Ferrari is climbing on the back of Balder, who has got a run on Eric Granado. It's going to be close, and Eric Granado just holds on for his first victory since 2023 in Italy. Eric Granado returns to winning ways. He converts his pole position ahead of Lorenzo Baldassari, who takes a 3rd podium of the season. Matteo Ferrari completing the podium. Brazil back on top. Eric Granado is back in the house.
He is indeed. This is a rider that broke his leg at the start of this season in really spectacular fashion. He's made a heroic comeback since then, and with that victory has just about hauled his name back into the championship fight. Brilliant last lap from Granado, who took the lead down into turn 1 with an around the outside move on Matteo Ferrari, and in the end I thought he might have started celebrating a little prematurely. 37 thousandths of a second was what separated Granado from Baldassari, who almost pipped him to the line.
It's been a long wait since Mugello back in 2023, but Eric Granado, what a season he's had from all kinds of perspectives. He was up and competitive in Le Mans before he was knocked down and out with a broken leg. Assen was a big comeback. He started to come good, didn't he, back in Austria. Balaton Park, he was a little bit perhaps displeased with not getting a double podium there, but he was more than made up for it here in Barcelona. And when one LCRE team bike fell out of contention, Eric Ganardo picked up the baton and has delivered Lucio Cecchinello's team a fine victory here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We took you through the podium spots. Nicola Spinelli just missed out on that podium by a quarter of a second. He was fourth across the line ahead of Alessandro Zacconi. Sixth place for Kevin Zanoni. Garzo took seventh. Eighth for Mantovani. Torres and Tibor Eric Varga swap places, ninth and 10th. They complete the top 10. José Gutierrez, Zacconi, Fusco and Oki, both the 658 bikes grabbing points, but listen to the crowd and to the reception, because this is a very popular win. Eric Granado for Brazil, doing exactly what he has done so many times, and now pulls a wheelie. That's not easy on a MotoE machine. They are heavy pieces of equipment, but when you're winning, you're on cloud nine. You can do anything, particularly if you're Eric Granado.
Yeah, I think that was a new feature with the Ducati V21L at the start of last season, which they input. It's a change, a mapping change that you can make, which allows you to pull a celebratory wheelie at the end of the race, and Eric Granado putting it to good use. And it looks as though, Kiko, we're seeing some confirmation on our screens that Spinelli is going to have to drop one position due to exceeding track limits on the final lap. That will see him drop to 5th, and Alessandro Zacconi promoted up into 4th.
Indeed he is, and that is a fine ride from Alessandro Zacconi. Converted that second row start and really was right there from the start. Of course, besides me and you, Neil, getting slightly misled by, I think it's a transponder issue. I don't necessarily think it's a graphics problem, because our timing screens say the same up here in commentary too. But what about it? What a race to get started. Granado versus Baldassari. I reckon that is the closest finish we've seen in 2025, Neil.
Yeah, I'll need to go back and check, but 37 thousandths of a second in it, and just over half a second covering the top 5. That is why we love MotoE racing. It is tight and it is very unpredictable. And you have to say, Kiko, after Hungary, the kind of domination that Mattia Casadei showed there, the kind of domination he showed in practice yesterday, you really thought, this is Casadei's to lose. He's really found his rhythm, and then he goes and doesn't put it on the front row and crashes out at the end of the first lap. And it does show you that you really cannot predict anything in this championship, and the championship once again is completely wide open.
Smashed wide open, and Eric Granado has announced his way back into title contention. He was almost double half the points of Casadei coming into this. And with Granado taking 25 out, that's a massive leap back into title contention. Listen to the noise. Let's pause and listen.
That is why we love Eric Granado. He is such an emotional character. And the highs are very high indeed. And he really has been through the mill this year, coming back from such a serious injury. Still bearing some very ugly looking scars on that leg that he broke at Le Mans when he was collected by another bike. And look at the comeback that he has made. He is now on top of the world once again, and here is where Spinelli just exceeded track limits on that final lap. Can we see it clearly on the camera shot? We can indeed. Well, there's no argument with that, Kiko.
I thought he dropped over the other side of that curb there, and indeed he did, and he's punished for it. But a top 5 for Spinelli. He can't grovel at that one at all. It's still solid championship points for the number 29. But, well, Neil, we're at round 5. We've had 6 winners. What more can MotoE deliver in 2025?
Yeah, absolutely sensational variety. We've had, what, 9 races, 6 different winners.
Unbelievable.
And this is the move that won it. What a move to win the race as well. Eric Granado obviously benefiting from the slipstream from Matteo Ferrari, pulling out of it, and to the Italians left, dropping it around the outside into turn 1. And sealing the deal just like that. A move fit enough to win any race, you would say, Kiko.
Oh, absolutely. He really just laid it across. And this was Balda's move. I think at this point, Lorenzo Baldassari was still absolutely right in contention, but it was that final sector where Granado just really did pull out. The thing that was making a difference for Balda was he's mid to exit corner speed. That last corner, he really did eat up the yards behind Eric Granado to give himself a chance, maybe one lap more. If it was a real 7-lap race as what was billed, maybe perhaps we'd have seen a late change, but you can't deny Eric Granado that victory. An absolute masterclass in the last lap.
Yeah, it really was. And it was almost a masterclass from Matteo Ferrari, who started the last lap in lead but ended up in third. How is he feeling? He's down with Elliott in Parc Fermé.
Matteo, a great battle at the front there, almost got victory, but it's P3 in the end. But you're looking pretty pleased that anyway. Talk us through how that race unfolded and how you're feeling.
Super happy about this race because yesterday in qualifying I struggled a little bit. We know the problem, but you know, you have to wait the race, and at the end we started in a very good position in 5 places, not so bad. The start was good. In the first lap I was already in the front. I did great overtakes. I feel very good with the bike. I did a mistake in the last lap because I was focused on Eric, but at the end Lorenzo passed me in turn 5. So you know, I had only to manage in the last lap the 3rd position because it's very difficult to overtake in the last part. But super happy because we are in the point, we are focused, we are every session in the front, so we have to continue like that.
Great job, well done.
Thank you. Ciao.
Great job from Matteo Ferrari from the 2nd row of the grid back into the podium. He led a couple of laps as well. Neil, he can't be unhappy with this first race in Montmello.
Yeah, after a disastrous start to the season, things have really clicked, haven't they, for Matteo Ferrari? After Austria, where he scored a double victory, 4th and 3rd in the last round in Hungary, and another podium here. His 4th podium finish in 5 races here in Barcelona race 1. But Lorenzo Baldassarri continuing his brilliant run, another podium finish for him, and he's right in the thick of the title fight. He's with L.
Lorenzo, you continue your fine run of podium form. Talk us through that race and so close to victory as well.
Yes, was another great battle. I'm adapting now to follow close the other rider because MotoE is a bit different. Also to overtake is not easy. But I'm happy because we did a great job, 20 points again. We are missing the victory, but happy for the job we have done until now.
That victory's coming, Lorenzo. Good luck for race 2.
Yeah, can't wait. Thanks to the team and all the supporters.
Baldo P2 in race 1, 3 podiums. That victory's not far away.
Yeah, definitely isn't. He was P2 in race 1 in Hungary. Can he go on better in race 2? He has a brilliant shout starting from the middle off the front row, and good to see him super aggressive in that final lap as well, Kiko. I don't think we saw that in Hungary. He maybe had that aggressive edge, just missing in the victory fight, but he showed there that he certainly could do it.
He is your championship leader now, but it's all eyes on Eric Granado. Who would have thought this after his Le Mans crash? He's a winner again.
Eric, from injury nightmare at the start of the season to being back on the top step a few months later, just describe your emotions and what a victory here in Barcelona.
Yes, it's amazing. You know, just my people, my family, my team know what have been for me these last months. It's been so difficult. I'm so happy with the job we did the last races. You know, every race I'm improving and feeling better on the bike, and have this win back again after all these last 3 months that was very difficult for me. And also here in Barcelona, there's a special place for me. It's amazing. So I'm so happy with this. Let's enjoy the moment and try to do the best again in the 2nd race. And as always, I need to say in Portuguese, eu tô muito feliz com essa vitória. Só minha família, as pessoas próximas a mim sabem o que eu passei. Não foi nada fácil, mas eu sou brasileiro e não desisto. Consegui essa vitória hoje, estou muito feliz. Quero dedicar isso a todas as pessoas que me ajudaram a conseguir me recuperar. Foi a lesão mais grave da minha vida e eu estou de volta, P1. Vamos escutar o hino nacional. Valeu.
Congratulations, Eric.
I think to say that he's happy would be a massive, massive understatement. Welcome back to P1, Eric.
Yeah, you could hear his voice cracking up during that Parc Fermé interview with Elliott. And that is just what it means to Eric Granado, not just to win his first race of this season, but also to make that heroic comeback from a really ugly leg injury that he sustained in round 1 of the season. And then there he is, he just held on. You can see how close Baldassarri came. He was celebrating well before the line, and I was thinking, don't do it. We've seen that happen before at this track, haven't we?
We have.
But Granado just held on for what we think is the closest finish for victory in a race this year.
Yeah, can confirm that. I had a quick flick through our notes and whatnot, and I can confirm that it is the closest finish of the 2025 MotoE season, and with that it brings a 6th different winner of the year. He's no stranger to winning, though, is Eric Granado. He has been mighty in the past, but it has been a long time since we've been able to see him back at the sharp end of things in terms of victory. That is his 12th in MotoE, Neil. He's not giving up without a fight with Mattia Casadei's total. His teammate is on 13 as of his double last time out in Hungary. One more, and the LCRE team are on 26 as a team, as a total.
Yeah, not bad stuff. And Granado now just finds himself 38 points in arrears of Baldassarri in the championship fight. It's still a big ask, isn't it, with, what, 5 races and 2.5 rounds still to go of this dramatic 2025 season. But he's given himself a bit of a chance, hasn't he, I think we could say, Kiko?
We've spoken about the 3 that are on the podium. Let's talk about who isn't. Mattia Casadei. That is the 3rd time, I make it, that he has crashed out on either the first or the last lap. Too many times Mattia Casadei has thrown away points that were there for the taking. The other 2 times were from the lead of the race, Neil. This inconsistency, it's exactly what we said coming in to this round. Just when you think someone's found form, a spanner gets thrown in the works, and Mattia Casadei, frankly, he's got to stop it, otherwise he's not going to be the champion, and he's arguably the most deserving because his pace is there.
Yeah, misery on one side of the LCR box, but absolute euphoria and jubilation on the other as Eric Granado basks in that winning feeling for the first time in 2 years. Top step of the podium for the Brazilian, thoroughly deserved after a hard-fought victory. Let's hope that he can back it up. If he backs it up in race 2, then we'll be talking about him going to Misano potentially as a proper championship threat.
Luca Boscolo Zemolo with the trophies here. 3rd place to Matteo Ferrari, who you've got to say now 4th in the standings, just 12 off Balda, is right in contention. Lorenzo Baldassarri is yet to win a race in 2025 as a rookie, but he is leading the championship. But has someone else arrived into contention? He is just now 38 points back. The top 8 riders are covered by less than 40. And you've got to say, Eric Granado in this kind of form, pole and victory here in race 1 in MotoE, is going to give Balda something to think about, particularly if he repeats it. We are going to get ready, though, for the Brazilian national anthem. It is for your winner, Eric Granado. It is a great national anthem, isn't it, Neil? Race 1 bagged. What are our main takeaways before we go for race 2?
Well, the championship is wide open after it looked as though Casadei may have put one hand on it after a couple of brilliant victories last time out. He is picking himself up out of the gravel here in race 2.
Yeah, he put one hand on it, he's put one fist through it in the gravel trap after lap 1, hasn't he? Granado made up for it for the LCRE team. Lorenzo Baldassarri 2nd. Matteo Ferrari completes that podium. Zacconi, Spinelli, Zanoni, Garza, Mantovani, Torres and Varga as quick as that. Hossia, Gutierrez, Bernardi 13th, Fusco Inoki, Finello crashed out, Mattia Casadei, the biggest of them all, at turn 14 at the end of the first lap. He has a chance to redeem himself later on. Moto3 is coming up. MotoE then is on the back burner for now, as we take a quick look at the championship standings. Balder takes over at the top, 6 points clear of Mattia Casadei, but that is very, very tight, and it is very much all to play for later on. But for myself, Kiko Jars, I am going to get out of the cockpit seat, and Lewis Sotheby is going to be coming in. Neil Morrison stays put. That's because MotoE qualifying, Moto3 qualifying is coming up in just a short while. We'll leave you with the team standings to look at. Dynavolt's Intech GP on top by 5 ahead of LCR.